Right, while the pandemic still rages around the globe, the British Health Secretary Sajid Javid says the UK will not be going ahead with plans for a vaccine passport. Now, the idea was to use them for access to crowded indoor spaces like nightclubs, but it faced a stiff backlash from the entertainment sector and some MPs. Now, so far, the country has vaccinated 80% of over 16s and is planning to open up vaccinations to children over the age of 12.
I've never liked the idea of saying to people, you must show your papers or something to do what is just an everyday activity. But we were right to to properly look at it, to look at the evidence.
But you're not doing it.
Well, what I can say is that we've looked at it properly, and whilst we should keep it in reserve as a potential option, I'm pleased to say that we will not be going ahead with plans for vaccine passports.
Now, for more on this story, we're joined by Dr. Bharat Pankania. He's a senior clinical lecturer at the University of Exeter Medical School. Welcome to the programme. Were you surprised by Sajid Javid's announcement saying that you won't need so-called vaccine passports to go to nightclubs?
The surprise is that only a week ago on the same programme, his own minister, the vaccine minister, was saying we are going to have vaccine passports, and exactly 7 days later the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, Sajid Javid, reverses that and says we're not going to. Now, if you were to ask me what do I think it is a good idea not to have passports. We have always said passports were only a piece of paper that said you were fully immunized, no more, no less, because a immunized person can still be infected and infectious. And what you don't want is a piece of paper allowing you to continue to drop your guard with respect to infection control measures.
It's a very good point you make there, because indeed, if you have been vaccinated, you can still get COVID-19. And just to be very clear for our viewers, because I know, here in Turkey, we have vaccine passports and also a code that is on our phone with a QR code for entering places such as malls. So what exactly is the UK talking about here?
So the UK is now becoming clearer in its approach, which is that you don't need a piece of passport, a paper, to say you have been fully immunized, because, to be truthful, most people in a very short time will be fully immunized, even in the younger age group, the ones that go to nightclubs, etc. The second thing is, I hope that the UK is not going to drop its other guard, and the other guard is, do you have any signs and symptoms? Do you have a cough? Do you have a fever? Are you unwell? Have you had a recent test? Is the test negative? And all that information really needs to be out there if we are going to continue to control this infection. Furthermore, we need these places to be properly ventilated and safe, because when you are in a crowded place, singing and dancing at the top of your voice, those are the places where infections occur.
Absolutely, and we've talked on this programme a lot about ventilation and sometimes the lack of understanding about how important it is. And just on another subject, Sajid Javid has said he wants to ditch PCR tests for travellers as soon as possible. What do you make of that?
I think, again, he's starting to streamline, and I am not against it, because if you are fully immunized, you are fully immunized and you are protected. And the rate of infection, for example, in any European country compared to ours is comparable. So if you are staying in if you are staying in Paris or you're staying in London, it makes very little difference to have these series of restrictions, which are in many ways symbolic, that you will have a PCR upon entering France and you will have a PCR upon returning to the United Kingdom. What we really need is that information, that action, which is, if you have signs and symptoms of an infection, you need to be out of circulation. No more, no less.
Good points that you raised there. I've just had 4 PCR tests on the way to the UK from Turkey via Germany. Thank you so much, Dr. Baharat Pankania. Appreciate it.